Welcome to PP Rewind 23, a campaign that charts the biggest PP control and automation stories and themes from the year. This is an exclusive one-off podcast episode where CEO Tony Hague will be joining me in conversation as we rewind and press play on 2023. I'm Richard Spears. Let's jump straight in. Okay, Tony, I'd like us to start by quite literally rewinding 12 months. Okay, it's December 2022. We've endured all sorts of disruption as an industry, a community. How are you feeling at this point in time? What's your outlook on the year ahead?
I think we finished 2022 having worked very hard, in truth, to get a fairly mediocre result. 2022 had a lot of headwinds and challenges. UK manufacturing as a whole, particularly around the supply chain. So there an awful lot of disruption in 2022 that affected most companies' plans. But we went into 2023 with a high degree of optimism. Many of those challenges hadn't completely evaporated, but I think we're all learning to adapt to them. That's not just a PP control and automation thing. I'm talking about UK manufacturing as a whole. We were starting to understand the way to operate with the supply chain lead times that we had and how you had to mitigate. And again, a lot of the issues around transportation were also improving in terms of availability of freight. So yeah, we went into 2023. I think the phrase would be cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, so cautiously optimistic because those disruptions, particularly around the supply chain, haven't entirely evaporated, but we've learned to perhaps navigate them better. And there are some underlying situations in the industry that are not necessarily a result of recent disruption, but are long-standing. I'm thinking specifically about underinvestment in people, skills, technology. What's your stance currently on that situation?
It's fair to say that, and data supports this, that UK productivity has never recovered to the same rates since the 2008, 2009. So the productivity performance of UK manufacturing pre-2008 recession, we've never got back to those levels. That's not opinion, that's just fact. And it's certainly not a political statement or anything else. What's driving that? You can really point to general lack of investment. We can talk about lack of investment in automation and robotics, that the UK, in terms of other developed nations, is a laggard when it comes to investing in all things automation. We've been over-reliant on the availability, previously the abundance of availability of lower skilled, lower paid labour. That market's clearly changed now post-Brexit as well. So you're now in a situation where there's less labour available. Labour rates have increased and we're still underinvesting in automation and robotics. There's always issues around skills, but again, I think that's being addressed in a lot of companies, and UK manufacturing as a whole actually is performing far better now than it ever has, certainly for some time, and in terms of addressing the skills gaps and doing the right things, whether that's their own internal training regimes and strategies, linked back to work they're doing with further education and some of the fantastic universities that we have. So I think there's a lot of good things happening around people and skills. Unfortunately, it's not a quick fix.
Yeah, and at PP we've been investing in people and training, skills development for quite some time. The internal training school, of course, we mentioned that a lot, but also in collaboration with Manufacturing Assembly Network, with Design and Make Challenge. So there's lots of positive things happening. Do you think perhaps it's time now that all of these people doing all of these positive things try and come together, sort of less fragmented approach, and think more deeply about proper collaboration?
I think we're seeing collaboration in clusters around the UK. There are collaborative networks that could be regional. There are collaborative networks around vertical markets. So I think we're doing, again, probably more than we have done for some time, but there's always opportunity to improve that. But I think that's then when you start to come into, and I hate to talk about government intervention, but that's where I think government can also play a part by, again, and this starts now to relate back to things like industrial strategy or lack of, but getting, talking around for example, we talk about electrification and battery manufacture, the investments that are being made into alternative energies around hydrogen and what an exciting opportunity that is. Part of the investment in those sectors needs to be identifying skills needs, creating the right clusters and the right groups of organisations to work together collaboratively to make sure that these opportunities are seized within, and for the greater good of UK manufacturing.
And just going back just a little bit more specifically on availability of labour and things which you mentioned briefly, but we had quite a few conversations this year, didn't we, around how outsourcing could potentially be part of that solution.
I think when you talk about outsourcing, you link it back to labour, but you also link it back to productivity. And the point we made earlier about UK productivity hasn't recovered to the same levels since, say, pre-2008, 2009. Now, productivity is measured as value add per person in a business. It's not a function of how hard people work or production efficiency, etc. So outsourcing can allow any company, including ours, because we've done this, to focus on those processes that truly add value in your organisation. And you look to outsource processes that don't or don't need to be. That means you can utilise your available labour in the most skilled value-add areas of your own organisation and business. So outsourcing is, a means of allowing and supporting growth. And it's also allowing you then to train your own employees and staff to do higher value add activities, which will increase margin expectation, it will increase revenue, and ultimately it contributes and increases productivity of an organisation. So I think it solves lots of challenges around people, space, investment, productivity, value add per person. But as we've always said, outsourcing is, needs to be thought about strategically. It shouldn't be used as just a tactical short term. We're busy, we need to do something reaction.
So that really covers many unique challenges, but thinking now more specifically about machine builders and OEMs, has 2023 thrown up any themes or topics that carry more substance than normal, especially having come out the other side of these rather unique series of turbulent events?
But I think 2023 has been the year of transition. It's been the year of getting things back to some sense of normality. So 2022, we were all firefighting. It was about finding parts, swapping out parts, re-engineering, sourcing components from anywhere you could. That affected costs, productivity, everything. So it was very messy. 2023 has been the year of getting things back on a bit of an even keel. It's all about refocusing on the strategic part of our business, because we've been deep in it over the last sort of 12, 18 months. And now it feels as though we've come to the other side of it. And as I said before, these challenges haven't gone away. They haven't just suddenly disappeared into the ether. But 2023, and especially as you come into the second half of this year now going into 2024, the focus now has to become on growth, value-add opportunities, focusing on all the right things to get our businesses, really sort of fighting fit to seize the opportunities that we'll all be seeing in 2024.
You talked there about getting back onto an even keel. Will that perhaps accelerate some things that may have been put on pause for a time? Thinking especially about sustainability, as broad as that is, and also the imperative of ESG considerations, regulatory pressures, and evolving consumer preferences. And I suppose the relevance and relativity of those things, do you think they're clearer now to manufacturers?
I think so, but I also think there's a little bit of confusion when people talk about ESG and what that actually means. As you said, the relativity to them. So I think if you sort of first of all just break that down into, let's just call it first, doing about sustainability and the challenges that we all have as individuals and as businesses, I think that part of it's relatively easy to understand, and it's like businesses will have their own challenges and strategies associated with what they can do around sustainability. I think when you look at ESG as a whole, and the environmental aspect of that is one part of it clearly. I think companies are becoming more aware now of the sort of social responsibilities that we would expect to see in organisations. And I think what we'll see around ESG, and it's driven by consumers and it's driven by transparency of markets, there'll be expectations that go beyond a tick box exercise of, have you got ISO 9001, have you got ISO 14001, do you have an environmental policy, etc., etc. Companies are going to want to know, what are you really doing around ESG? What makes your business different? How proactive are you being? Again, not just from an environmental sustainability perspective, but from a social and governance perspective, because people are going to want to do business with businesses that are doing the right things with their employees, with their stakeholders, and within their communities. And I see that starting to get more focus.
You think there'll be more alignment in values and purpose between businesses and their customers and vice versa?
Very much so.
And I suppose partners and suppliers are really important.
Absolutely. I think it's the end-to-end supply chain.
Yeah.
And I think, as I said, it's been driven by transparency, and it's been driven by consumer education.
Yeah.
And the power of the consumer and the level of transparency that we now have in the markets has never been greater. And consumers have a huge amount of power.
Yeah.
So I think it's coming. I think it actually presents a fantastic opportunity. And for those businesses that take it seriously and do the right things, it will be a differentiator.
And I suppose underlying all of that is a different type of opportunity with sustainability in particular. There should come innovation and emerging markets and technologies. So obviously there's big opportunity there. Would you agree that that's the case? And is it coming anytime soon?
Oh, it's massively exciting. Many years ago, we heard this phrase, didn't we, Industry 4.0. From a personal perspective, it's a phrase I always detested. I think it was fundamentally flawed and also incredibly misleading. But if there ever was an Industry 4.0, I think this is it. I think when you look at what's happening in the markets right now, the speed of innovation around energy, just driven by sustainability, driven by renewables, whether that's associated with, as I said, hydrogen technology, and what we're seeing there is pretty incredible. If it's being driven by, say, renewable energy linked to microgrid activity, linked to energy storage, battery or otherwise. Certainly, I think in the many years I've been in manufacturing now, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this.
Okay.
So I think the opportunities for UK manufacturing are incredible. We have some amazing businesses that are doing some amazing things from an innovation perspective. Some of these, and many of them are actually linked back to doing some great work with some of the fantastic universities we have as well. And I just think there's a huge opportunity for the UK to take a lead in this. And I think it will create an awful lot of opportunity in terms of, valuable employment and GDP growth for the UK if we can get the investment right and do the right things.
If you can, a bit more specifically, what are the right things? How do we capture this window of opportunity?
I think, as you said before, it's about collaboration. There's a lot of good work being done in pockets. And as I said, that could be linked to a vertical sector. It could be linked to a geographic region. It could be linked around a particular university, et cetera, or business. It's how you join the dots up. And that's what we've been historically bad at in the UK, is joining the dots up. And unfortunately, they do it better in the US, they do it better in Germany, they do it better in Japan. We just have a track record in the UK of being pretty rubbish at it. And I don't like talking about government intervention, because I always think with manufacturing, UK manufacturers have paddled their own canoes for decades. They get little or no support or direction from UK government. So the minute you start to depend on it, you're in trouble probably. But this is where, industrial strategies do actually play a key part. This is where government can be focused and creating investment in the right areas to bring the best brilliant minds together, linking together the people that are inventing and developing some great technology with those companies that can actually genuinely support the transition from a really good idea through that engineering process, through the NPI process, through the pre-production process into scalable production. Because what we don't want to do is see some of these great ideas that are developing end up leaving the UK shores because those companies can't get the right backers, the right investors, or find the right partners to help them commercialise and scale that technology.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head quite early there when you said it's about joining the dots. We spent a lot of time this year researching and campaigning on what we termed the shock of the new. This idea around new technologies and emerging markets and apprehension around adoption. But on the positive side of that coin, the opportunity that they present and what's needed to take advantage of that opportunity. And what was evident throughout that campaign and through the research was a critical need for collaboration.
Yeah.
We seem to almost overuse the term in the industry, but in many ways, we're not executing it to its full potential. So, and you mentioned other regional approaches, economic structures, clear visions, often backed by government incentives and so on. And there is quite evidently lots of excellent blueprints for success where collaboration is central. It seems it's up to the UK manufacturing community. And I think importantly, with an all-inclusive ecosystem of support, to join those dots. That's where I think we maximise the opportunity. Now, so let me step down from my pedestal for a moment and now move into the successes of the year, because it's been a great year for us, hasn't it? And we're reminding ourselves why. And what can you tell us about that?
It's been a great year. It's, as I said, it's been a year that we needed, and I think UK manufacturing needed. So I think on all fronts, it's been a strong year. We've achieved a lot in 2023. We've had some great recognition from some of the work that's been done around our training school and our apprenticeship system. So we've seen one of our young starlets, walk away with national awards. That was, I think we were all incredibly proud when we were down in London not long ago. To see Sophie winning the Rising Star Award. And I think, the what she's done, as personally to promote engineering to young people and also to young females. We know we've got an issue in terms of recruitment in engineering, and particularly the amount of, females are entering through STEM subjects into engineering. It's, we need to raise the bar on that. And I think Sophie's done a great job working, not just Sophie, but the wider team in the work that we've done with the local schools, the work that we've done with the Design to Make Challenge and the Man Group. I think that, it's important as a business that we are spending a lot of time and focus around that. We have a moral obligation as a reasonably sizable manufacturing company now, 230 people. We have a moral obligation to promote manufacturing and engineering, and I think we've done a great job around that. So that's always nice to see. And we've significant investment in the business. That's been great to see as well. So we've now invested another £500,000 in the latest automation for cable manufacture and test, which will help drive further productivity improvements and give us the capacity for further growth. We've got ambitious growth plans over the years ahead. So the investment is going in place, in order to make sure we do just that. And I think, we can go into 2024, again with a high degree of optimism, building on what we've done in 2023. Nothing stands still. You don't rest on your laurels. So I think we can get to the Christmas break. We can enjoy the Christmas break knowing that we've done the right things, we've got the right results, and go to 2024 not complacent, but saying, right, we've raised the bar, now we need to raise it again?
Yeah, absolutely. You say, we can't rest on our laurels, absolutely, but you do also need to pause and celebrate the wins, which I think the EMA Awards in particular was a good way of doing that, because I know you don't like to talk about it, but you were also up for an award and won an award. So it was 2 awards in one night, a great celebration, perhaps other than getting a taxi to the wrong venue.
We don't talk about that, do we?
You don't know.
The recognition for the business is good, and as you said, yes, I don't like it's not personal awards are a strange thing, but winning the sort of CEO of the year wasn't really about me. That the CEO of the Year award really was recognition for 230 people in this business that have really worked their socks off. Not just in 2023, but as I said, if you look at what we've endured, survived, and then come out of from 2020. So I think really that award is the recognition of a lot of people's damned hard work over the last 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. And on that note, what's your outlook for 2024? We've talked a lot about exciting opportunities in sustainability, ESG as an industry-wide imperative, the emerging markets, of course, and tech that come off the back of that, and also better collaboration. Do you go into a new year more optimistic? And are there any reasons to still be cautious?
So I think 2024, we go into it again with a high degree of optimism. I'm particularly excited about the opportunities that are being presented by sustainability, ESG. I think, as I said before, there's some real catalysts of potential growth there, a lot of innovation. The cautious part of me, I am concerned about the cost of finance, inflation, interest rates, because that's holding back consumer confidence. It just is. We could see that dampen down investment at a time when really investment is very much needed. So you almost feel that we need a bit of a catalyst. Now, that catalyst could come in many shapes or sizes. It may even come out of, a general election next year, I don't know. But we just need to get people confident, businesses comfortable about investment. And then that comfort will come from having a landscape that really supports that sort of financial investment, that they feel that there's longevity to it, that there's that things aren't going to change. And one of the problems we often have, and again, it can come around by government changes, that the rules of investment change. So we've obviously just had the autumn statement, and certain things have been put in place. But will that change if there's a general election in 6, 9 or 12 months? So you need to have some sort of long-term confidence around investment. So that's needed. It'd be nice to see something that does create that catalytic effect.
Yeah.
What excites me also for next year, obviously, is the launch of PP Plus.
Yes.
So the work that we're doing around PP Plus, that genuinely excites me. I think we're trying in our way to really develop and drive this collaborative network, and I think if we will get it right, and the partners that we're talking to that want to work with us, I think the opportunities that will come out of PP Plus to support organisations through that journey is one that should excite us all.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, it's speaking to so many different people, and it's been really encouraging actually to see that how many people have said, well, this is interesting, this is different, and we want to be part of this.
Oh, absolutely. I think when you were down with the was it the Silverstone Technology Cluster Group a few weeks ago, and yourself and Gary were doing those presentations, I think most, I think you literally had a queue of people wanting to know more about it and want to take part in it, which just shows you people want to collaborate.
Oh God, the response is brilliant. And obviously I've been in marketing for a long time. I've been to lots of exhibitions. I've manned lots of stands in the past, and I've never quite seen anything like it, to be honest. It was just a queue of people, and that was everybody from people who right there and then needed some help and some advice through to, I want to join the network. What do I have to do?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was absolutely, that was really encouraging. So yeah, 2024 will be the launch year, if you like.
Yeah.
And I expect it to be quite impactful. So on that note, I think we can end there, and I think both agree that there's lots of optimism yet again going into a new year, but it's time for a rest now and a break.
Absolutely. I think we're a couple of weeks away now from a much needed Christmas holiday and New Year. Everyone can go away, be very satisfied in what has been achieved in 2023, and come back with a high degree of confidence that we can build on that and have a great 2024.
Excellent. Thank you, Tony.
Lovely. Thanks, Richard.
Well, there you have it. Another year in UK manufacturing draws to a close. I hope you've enjoyed your listen and are keen to delve into all the content from our unique reflective year's end over at ppcand.com, if you haven't already. Until next year, goodbye.